Today's video is for you who are a very senior product manager or product person who is looking to take the next step in their careers, who's looking to move forward to those managerial roles, something like a director of product management or a product director, and you are wondering what are the skills or what is needed for you to take that big jump into that type of roles. Let's go through it. So the first aspect that you have to look into is a mindset shift. You probably have worked as an individual contributor. You have to start thinking how you are going to help teams perform better, not just about your own success, but also about how you're going to help others to perform better. So stop thinking from how do I contribute, how my work contributes to the company, but how our teams work contribute to the company. How can you do this when you're a senior product manager or a principal product manager? It might be challenging because you don't have reports. You could consider, of course, that the team, the engineering team, the product team that you are working with, how can you help that team be more successful? That could help you a little bit put yourself in that position. It's not the same thing because they are not your direct reports. It's not the same situation. But it's going to help you understand how you can help teams succeed and make an impact. The next one is that you have to really improve your skill sets in certain aspects. Not that your skill sets are not good enough, but your skill sets are probably very tailored to make product management decisions. You have product expertise. You know how to implement or manage a product. You know how to find a successful features, successful opportunities for that product. But you had to start thinking now differently. You had to start thinking how you can be more strategic, not just about the tactical activities that you had to implement in the product, but potentially where do we think that this product has to be positioned? And this is not just about market entries, it's about potentially even rethinking the whole product because the product may be too niche and maybe too much into a competition environment where it's difficult to grow. How can you take it out of that position? What could be done to take it out of there? You also have to think about how to implement product culture, how to implement things like product-led growth, and potentially also work a lot on how to be more cross-functional. Many people, when talking about cross-functional, they think a lot about product trio, product managers, product designers, and tech leads. But in reality, you had to work also with sales, you had to work with marketing, and it's about how can you find that healthy relationship with those teams that is not the often blame games that you can see in many companies. How can you understand better what they need and explain them better what you need? So you can actually find the balance of how the relationship has to go and what kind of information you can give them, they can give you, so you can make your work definitely better, and then definitely the output or the outcomes of that work even more impactful. So as you can imagine, making a great product doesn't mean the success of the product. You had to promote it, work with marketing, you had to be able to sell it, work with the sales teams, you had to be able to service it, work with the support teams. So you had to really have good relationships and good understanding and communication with those teams so the product is more successful. So don't focus only on your product success, but more like the business success. Continue with the topic of business. The next one that you had to think about is how to create business impact. This is one of the things that I rarely see many product managers looking after. Many product managers will look into how to get more customers, how to drive more engagement. And yes, those are proxy metrics for business success, but they're not necessarily the only metrics. So understanding better what is your company's business, what are your company's goals and strategies, and how you can align your product strategy, your product goals, and business impact of your product to those strategies. That's very important. If you are not able to do this, then you are missing big time, because this is going to be a key factor for you to be a product director. Realistically, if you are a director, a company is paying you because you are going to have an impact on the business. So you have to be able to start understanding that, well, how are we creating impact or with our product, how we are creating business impact with our product. And understand that also when you are prioritizing, when you are planning your work, how you are doing this in a way that you are driving that business impact. Next is that you probably had to start looking to how to set up the operations, set up the systems that are going to help you drive your product management practicalities or practices. This doesn't mean that you have to have a very stiff framework, something like SAFe. I don't mean that you have to do that, but you have to set up the ways of working that is going to make your work predictable towards others, and that is going to help you also remind yourself of what are the different things that you have to do. So for example, how do you do a time sum exercise? How do you do that market analysis or market impact? How do you do things like prioritization? Do you have certain frameworks that you prefer to use? And how often do you use them? So understanding better what are those systems and the cadence of doing these different systems is going to help you really make sure that your work is more predictable, that your work is more outcome driven than necessarily output driven. And yes, many people are going to say that, well, everybody can do whatever they want. Everybody can choose whatever framework they want. Well, this is all true. I'm good. But in the end, we're putting all the chances based on the capabilities of certain individuals. We are not trying to help teams to succeed to scale. And that's what we should be looking towards when we are setting operations. And that's what, as a director, you have to be looking into. If you are as a senior product manager, you can start setting those operations that is going to help you, for example, being more cross-functional, explaining better what is the strategy of your product, explaining better why you have built certain roadmap, what is the value of certain features or opportunities that you are addressing, who are the personas that you are addressing, what is the value proposition that is going to help others do their job. You are setting operations, you are setting, ways of working that are going to help you be more successful. And in the end, this is what we want to do with operations. We want to raise the bar so we don't depend on certain individuals being very, very driven and very, very good, and that we are building the systems to help everybody to be able to contribute and to create impact. And of course, if you have not done it, because it happens, you have to be data-driven and make decisions being data-driven, and not just being data-driven, but also being user-centric, which are two aspects of the same thing in a way. Well, being user-centric probably is more important, so let's review that one. But being user-centric means that you are going to talk with the customers, that you are going to look more into the data, the usage, the adoption, and not just about the typical product metrics. You are also going to look into business metrics that are not necessarily product metrics. When you think about product metrics, you can be talking about monthly active users, daily active users, engagement of different features, engagement of the different journeys in the product. But when you are looking at product metrics, business metrics, you are looking at a different type of metrics. Usually you are looking metrics that are more centered around revenue, annual recurring revenue, or you can be looking to things like churn. Are you losing customers or not? What is the ratio that you are losing customers? What are the different conversion ratios that you might have in your funnel? What is your acquisition? What is your activation? What is your purchase rate? What is the average price of purchase? And so on. There are many different metrics that are more in the business side that are going to help you put yourself more in the position of the different metrics that a product director or a director of product management is going to have to pay attention to. And yes, that's why I'm saying that being data-driven is very important. You also have to think, of course, about understanding your customers, talking with your customers. How do you, in a systematic way, have that feedback from the customer, that understanding of the market, and understanding if this market really is aligning with the strategy that I'm setting as a director. Look, the jump to be a product director is going to be a difficult one, so I want to tell you some things that are going to help you as well. And just being a great senior product manager usually is not going to cut it. You have to show some of the let's call it skills that a director has to have in order to be promoted or in order to get that position. If you're doing it internally in a company, it's usually easier to do that jump. If you try to apply to a director role, having been only a senior product manager, it's always going to be more challenging. So some of the things that are going to have some additions, some skills that are going to help you, apart from the other ones that I think that are a must, not that you have to be super expert, but are going to help you get there. The first one is that you have to have a proven record of success. Of course, if you have working products that have grown, that have scale, that you can prove that your work has contributed to the success of that product, that is always very important. That's always something that companies are going to look for. And obviously, I'm thinking more about companies that are for profit. The next one is that you have to be an effective communicator. You have to be really good at talking with others, at explaining what you're trying to do, why you're doing it, not just what you're doing, because most of the time what people talk about is what they are doing. One of the things that I always tell my teams to do is that when they are going to present a roadmap, they start talking first about strategy. Why? Because you're starting with the why. It's like what Simon Sinek used to say, start with why, and then you talk about the what and the how, potentially even. So you could say that why, you talk about your strategy, what, you talk about the opportunities or features, how, you talk about the operations. If you are doing it this way, you are making very clear your process, your strategy, your roadmaps to all the teams that you are talking with. Is it going to be perfect? Probably not, but you will iterate, you will learn, and you will see where they need more information or less. And this final one, I think that is a very important one and probably something that's going to be very difficult to do as a senior product manager unless you have worked with some associate PMs or somehow you work in a pair with another PMs in your team and you might have been able to do this. This is that you are actually mentoring or coaching other product managers. You really have to start looking into how to help others improve their skill set. This is a key thing for a director and something that actually many directors don't do and don't pay much attention to because usually they are busy with other stuff. But in reality, if you want to be successful teams, you are going to do it by improving the skills that those teams have. So the more you work on improving the skills of the team, on coaching them or helping them to grow in their career, develop, the more chances of success you're going to have as a director, the more chances you are going to have of creating business impact. So if you're looking to up your game as a senior product manager, I have put several resources that I think that are going to be interesting for you. Go check out the link in the description down below. If you enjoyed the video, please give a like, share it with other people that you think that might be wanting to grow in their career as senior product managers. If you want to know more about what the role of a product director is, go check out this video. I will see you in the next one, and remember, stay safe.